Now, I'm delighted to be joined this week by Caru James, who is a library assistant at Llanelli Library, and Caru is based at Llanelli Reference Library. Hello, Caru.
Hello.
Everything all right?
Yes, fine, thank you. And
Good. Yeah, thanks for spending the time to come over to talk to us today.
No problem at all.
Great. Could you tell us a little bit, you're going to tell us a little bit about Heritage 6, which is a specific project that you're working on. But first of all, tell our listeners a little bit about who is Caru James. Where does she come from?
Well, I live in Ammanford. I've lived there my whole life. I'm very, very interested in history. I went to university in Lampeter and I graduated there in 2008. And from there then I knew I wanted a career in libraries. So in 2009 I got a job in Llanelli Library and I've been there since.
And that's great. So it's always an ambition of yours to work in library services?
Yes. I love reading and I love history and it was sort of a way of combining the two really.
Yeah.
So, as I say, I started off in the London Library and then about a year ago I moved to the reference department.
Right, so it's a perfect job for you, really.
Yes, really, yes.
And I understand you're pretty busy studying at the moment as well. Are you doing an MA, I understand?
I am, yes, I'm trying, yes. I'm trying to do a master's so I can be a librarian.
Crikey, it sounds like an awful lot of work. And,
yes, well, it's a struggle, but we'll get there.
Right. So you've been involved now in what we call the Heritage 6 project for... How long?
Well, about a year ago, really, the idea came about, and what it is we've got a great collection of local materials about Llanelli in the reference library. I think in total we've got over 14,000 local items, and they can range from anything from medals to commemorate George V's coronation to deeds to local estates and things like that. And it's constantly growing, and then we've also got 7,000 local illustrations or photographs from various times, some going back to the start of the 1900s, even further, and really they're just sitting there. And what we want to do, really, the aim of the project is to open up that collection to the public, because they don't really know we've got it, except those who are interested in professional research.
Right.
So it's really about opening up the collection. Yeah,
I mean, the library's gone through a lot of changes, particularly in the last couple of years,
yes.
And it reopened earlier this year.
It did,
It looks very nice now.
It is fantastic, and it's lovely, lovely to work there. A real treat.
But people go in there, and of course, you've got the London Library Services. Our listeners will be interested in the audio books and things like that. And you've got facilities there for people to read newspapers. You've got the reference library, which is probably the only sort of hush part of the building now, is it?
Yes, it's changed slightly. It's not as quiet as it used to be, but that is a nice room to work if you want to do various things.
And what do they describe it? The Athenaeum they call part of it, don't they?
The Athenaeum, yes, that's that is the old children's library was, and it's now a fantastic room where you can hold various functions, and it really is beautiful. That's how I describe it. And you can the public can come and hire it out and have any functions really they want.
Right. I mean, everybody sort of sees the sort of front of house services that libraries offer, but of course what you're saying is that you have such a great amount of material in storage, sort of squirreled away,
behind
so to
the
speak.
scenes, and nobody knows it's there. So we need to get it out there for people to know, and what we're going to do is put it online, and obviously have not just photographs. We're going to have articles with them, so people can use them really as a learning resource.
Right.
So school children could use them, or if you wanted to know about, say, for example, a Stepney wedding, you wanted to know a little bit of information about that you could go on to the Heritage 6 website and find that information and then enhance your knowledge then.
I would imagine there's some fascinating glimpses into Llanelli's past. I mean, I mean, Llanelli has this great sort of industrial heritage as well.
Yes.
I'd imagine there's quite a lot of artefacts from that period.
Oh yes, there's quite a lot. As I say, we've got a lot of information about the Nevilles and Stepneys and all of them, the Chambers, yes.
Yeah,
so.
I mean they're big family names associated with Llanelli, aren't they? And but people, you would walk through town and see Stepney Street, and you know the name Neville's Docks and so on. But but it's interesting finding out the origin of the names.
Yes, and hopefully that's what you'll be able to do when you go on the website when we launch it.
When you get it ready.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be coming soon. But but meanwhile, you're sort of busy cataloguing everything, I imagine.
Yes, everything's catalogued already, but what we're doing now is collating the information, so getting articles together and then linking them to the photographs we've got. So there's a lot of background work going on, and it will continue even after we've launched the website, because what we want is to continually grow. And we're asking the public if they want to contribute in any way, if they want to volunteer to scan items, or if they've got reminiscences of the past, if they want to give their own little history, and then we can put it online and we can record it then, and it'll be there then for future generations.
I wondered, some of our listeners may be interested in actually recording their thoughts of Llanelli in days gone by. I mean, is that possible that you might be interested in?
Oh yes, definitely.
Anything they recorded?
Yes, we're hoping so, yes.
What are some of the more unusual items that you've come across? I think there's a medal, I think, that you talked about. We
came across that last week, actually. Obviously we knew it was there, but I hadn't come across it, and we'd found, when we were refurbishing, we found these 3 old paintings, and they were one of them was the town hall, and the other 2 were the Athenaeum, the library, and they were decorated in bunting. And of course, because we were quite busy, we didn't really have time to think about what it was. We obviously knew it was for some occasion, but we didn't know what. So we've had another look at it now, and we've discovered that it was actually George V. So I've had a look in the newspapers, and the Athenaeum and the town hall were indeed decorated for the coronation in 1911. Wow. And obviously they are the original paintings, so at least we know what it looked like.
Yeah.
Some of the newspaper reports are quite scathing, or they didn't like the Athenaeum. They thought the town hall was very beautiful, but they didn't like the decorations on the Athenaeum. Yeah. So obviously now as well, I also found the George V medal. I thought I'd have a look what else we had on George V in the collection, and I did find a medal that had been commissioned by Llanelli Urban District Council. Right. And so we've got that as well. Yeah,
it's fascinating looking back at some old newspaper cuttings and seeing how people look upon events in their days, so to speak, isn't it? And they're not always the views that you would think were appropriate.
No.
Yeah. Why then, it's called the Heritage 6. Where does the 6 come from?
I know, lots of people ask that question. Basically, it's because we're going to have 6 different categories.
Right.
So we've got people, places, industry, times, events, and your community. And then your community will be the one where you can put your own reminiscences on there.
Right.
Within the 6 categories, then we're going to have 6 subcategories. So if you visited the website, then, for example, if you wanted to look up a person, you'd obviously go to people, and from there you could look for sports or industries, saints and sinners, politicians, arts or scientists and technology, anything like that. So you it's breaking the categories down.
Right,
really.
So you've picked 6 categories that people can follow quite easily, and then I imagine then you just mine it down to the point that you want to get to.
It's a way to map it, really. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fascinating. Yeah. You're obviously looking for people who might have things in their attic or in their drawer, their sideboard or their dresser, whatever. And what sort of things would you look for? Anything from deeds to
anything really, photographs, deeds if it's appropriate. Any artifact really. It doesn't really matter. We haven't really got a set thing in mind. So if the people want to come along, especially with photographs, if they just want to let us scan them, put them on the website,
and then they can
take them back.
Yeah, which is a good idea, because lots of people don't want to be parted with
No, definitely not. No.
Yeah. Is it possible, if people are interested in contributing something, they should get in touch with you directly, or is that?
Yeah, if you contact the library. If you phone 01554 773538, you'll either come through to me, or somebody can take a message and pass it on to the reference department then.
Okay, that's excellent, Caru. Well, Caru James and the Heritage 6 project, we wish you all the best with the project, and perhaps you'll call in to see us again and tell us how it's progressing.
I hope so. Thank you very much.
Diolch yn fawr. Thank you.